Yeah, a reminder that this is the third stage of the triple mix. It is a pursuit start and it is bike, swim, run. There is the triple mix overall. If you're just joining us, stage one, we had a swim, bike, run, and then a 10-minute break. Then it was run, bike, swim. We've just finished that, and now a pursuit-style start for bike, swim, run. So the added times between stage 1 and 2 will determine your penalty behind the leader, who will be Katie Zafiris, who'll take off first in the third stage, and we will run it home. The first athlete across the line wins. Katie Zafiris will start unofficially. We've done a little bit of maths here. We think that Taylor Spivey will start 8 seconds back. Rachel Klammer 36 seconds behind Zafiris. Takahashi 46 seconds back, and Casper 1 second behind her. So they'll be able to help each other a little bit, and potentially Joanna Brown as well at 51 seconds. So there'll be a group there, the three of them, and Jodie Simpson at 105. And then we drop below the 130 mark for Cook, McShane and Di Francesco at 3 minutes and 3 seconds back. So they are gone. And we have 7 contenders in this final stage, such as the brutality, I guess, of the format and the course and the conditions has strung the field out so much that 7 of our 17 women, who are all among the best in the world, will actually make it into the third part of this race.
Yeah, I think Rachel Klammer's going to be interesting on this one. She's sort of in no man's land there on her own at plus 36 seconds down from Katie Zafiris to start the day. She's in the green jersey, which is obviously an advantage starting this stage starts with the bike, which is something that she's shown, especially in Malta, to be a real strength. She's got no real other option than to just ride hard. She's not going to be wanting to wait for those other three.
Group hug. The group hug there as they try to stay warm.
Good camaraderie
That's
that you
nice.
have here at Super League. It really
How
is.
do they even have enough energy to talk to each other? Having done the age group race this morning.
Have you met us?
Yeah, that's true. There's always talking.
Katie's
No talking from Katie Zafiris.
Katie is ready. Katie is absolutely ready. She's been ready for minutes.
Bike, swim, run. That is all that stands between Katie Zafiris and a win in the triple mix. She was bested in Jersey by Cassandra Beaugrand. And this time there is no Cassandra Beaugrand, and Katie Zafiris will be looking to start her weekend off with a win. She runs to the bike. Taylor Spivey taking off 8 seconds behind her. Rachel Klammer has a long, long wait, 28 seconds, and that will feel like an eternity.
It does.
Watching those two disappear into the distance.
I started this a minute plus down in Jersey, and it felt like forever. I thought I was going to get lapped before I even actually started the bike leg. So it really feels like forever.
Yeah, okay, but you are the world champ, so that's okay, and you're the best female commentator between the three of us.
Well, I'd hope so.
And the only female commentator between the three of us.
Yes.
But there we go. Rachel Klammer takes off 10 seconds back to Yuko Takahashi, your Asian champion from 2017 and 2018.
Starting with her swim cap on, yes.
Yep, there's a couple of them doing that, so they're going to spend the entire bike leg with the swim cap on.
I think that's actually a heat thing as well. So I noticed some of them seem to be quite cold down there. Maybe that's what that group hug was more about. And
I think so.
I noticed as well Taylor only took a jacket off, or like a towel that she had round her as Katie started, and that's only 8 seconds before she was due to start. So she kept her towel around her literally as long as she possibly could do before she started.
Yeah, conditions very cold, but they are the same for everyone, as we see our two leading athletes at the top of the turnaround on that 13% gradient hill, which is, we had Malta Mountain last week, and this is Mount Mallorca this week, because it is tough.
That's original.
Up there. Yeah, thanks. I've really gone out on a limb there.
You've changed it around a lot there.
Yeah, well, I changed the words around, so that'll do. I don't see you coming up with any names, but that's fine. We move on and we go up Church Hill, okay? Because there's a church at the top. Is that all right?
See what you've done there.
Yeah, thanks so much. I just want to keep it simple for everyone watching around the world. Thank you for tuning into Super League Triathlon. I hope you're enjoying what has been fantastic racing here in the women's triple mix and your two leaders. And this is all-out racing now. There is nothing left to be tactical about. There is nothing left to worry about. There is 3 legs between these women and a victory in the triple mix and the maximum amount of points as they fight for $20,000 for the round win, and of course championship points for that overall win of $100,000 in the grand final in Singapore. And Katie Zafiris is looking to extend her championship lead. 8 seconds it was between her and Taylor Spivey as they took off in the first of these 3 legs, the bike. and we'll see what it is as they head through transition for the first time. But Spivey looks to have at least held the status quo to an extent.
Yeah, both these girls just really confident on their bike, just look comfortable, great climbers, good technically. Yeah, they both just look like they're in their element at the moment. They're not phased about the fact that they're both having to ride on their own, that there's no pack element to what they're doing right now. They're just in their own little zones.
And Taylor has a little bit of an advantage in the sense that she can see Katie up the road. She has someone to mark. She can measure her effort. In that 9 seconds, she's lost a second on a lap. Is that right? She started
lost a second. That's right. Correct. There is 1 second between 8 seconds and 9 seconds. Good mathematics from Chris McCormack.
Let me check that with the calculator.
But that's no mean feat when Katie Zafiris is the woman that you're attempting to chase down. And she'll know, Spivey, that she probably has the edge just if she can keep something in the tank in the swim, which is the middle leg of this race. She's a fantastic swimmer, but she's got to run at home, and Katie Zafiris is a fearsome runner.
I think that gap's gone out a little bit just up that hill there, and just saw one little small clip of her face. As you said, Chris, she dropped her head. She doesn't look quite as comfortable, just as I was talking about how, supremely confident and comfortable both these girls look. Taylor, I think, is beginning to pay for her earlier efforts on today, and that's what Katie's just done so well. The whole of the Super League Series just measured her effort really well, really smartly, and I think she's going away a little bit now from Taylor.
There is Spivey. You can see plenty of room behind them. Rachel Klammer went off 36 seconds back, but I don't know whether it's a tactical decision, but now her, Yuko Takahashi and Kirsten Kasper, who were 10 seconds back at the start, have come together. Maybe she's dropped it back a little bit and said, we need to work together if we're going to do anything in this.
I would say that was not the best tactical move, so maybe that's more a case of how much energy you physically got left at this point. Just because I don't think Rachel will want to be in a pure swim and run race with those girls at the end. She was in a relatively good position to hopefully get on the podium at the end of the day, and I think the cyclist that she is, she would have wanted to just be on her own and to just have the race on her own all day long.
Well, it's been a long race. They're 3 short races, but to be able to get cold, as you say, and Rachel, one of the smaller athletes out there in the field, it's very easy for them to get very cold in the 10 minutes in between.
It's the sort of thing she said has affected her before. She doesn't enjoy the cold. She's one of the smaller athletes. She said she feels it a lot. So maybe that has sort of played into how she's feeling at the start of this third stage.
It's quite ironic we're talking about being cold in Mallorca.
But it is cold. I'm cold.
Well, back at home it's 0 degrees at the moment, so I don't think we can talk about that.
It's all relative.
Yeah, Vicky Holland here with a shorts and a t-shirt on, basking in the beautiful weather as it tops 15 degrees. She's come from the UK.
Stop lying, I'm just wearing a bikini.
I didn't want to say that to the whole world, but there you go. Interesting times in the commentary box as Taylor Spivey drops another couple of seconds to Zafiris, who we'll just be keeping an eye on. And thanks to these turnarounds, you can always keep half an eye on your competitors and know exactly what the gaps are. There's 3 almost dead turns or turnarounds where you can see where the rest of the field is. And Katie Zafiris will see Taylor Spivey heading up to the top of that hill. And from the other perspective, Taylor Spivey sees Katie Zafiris rocketing away from her down the hill as she's still doing all the work. So
it's such
that's always tough to see.
Such a big boost for Katie to have seen that. She'll see every time she goes around one of these U-turns, of which there's 3 each lap, she'll be seeing that gap is now going out. For the first lap it didn't. Now every single metre really it seems that Katie's pulling a little bit further away. So that's a big mental boost for Katie and just potentially a little bit demoralising for Taylor. She's still got a big gap on those coming through in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. So she really needs to keep the pressure on now to keep herself in that 2nd position overall.
On those last time splits, it looks like Yuko and Kirsten are holding Katie Zafiris at 46 seconds. That's what they started behind, and so they're actually moving slightly quicker than Taylor on the road.
Yeah, they're working well together in this final round on the bike.
Now that they've been forced to do that, the 3 of them, Kirsten Kasper, Rachel Klammer, Yuko Takahashi. Klammer currently in 5th position overall and Kasper in 2nd position. So Kasper will know that if she can finish in 3rd position, she'll still maintain 2nd in championship standings. Obviously, we don't add that up until the end of the weekend, but in terms of round points heading into championship points, she'll be in a decent spot. And Summer Cook, meanwhile, has to sit there and watch people add round points and just disappear from her in the distance. So Rachel Klammer knows that a 3rd place here will make a big difference as opposed to 5th place in terms of overtaking Summer Cook in the overall championship standings. So that's where the real battle is at this point between Kasper, Klammer and Takahashi. Meanwhile, Taylor Spivey and Katie Zafiris are having rather lonely bike rides out the front, and Zafiris has put just in that lap another 5 seconds into Taylor Spivey, so she's truly showing her class, Katie Zafiris.
Yeah, she's not hanging around, is she? She's not settling in and just thinking, oh, I'm leading this race now and I'll save something for the final 2 legs on the swim and the run. She's really extending that all the time. She looks comfortable. She does. I mean,
she really does, doesn't she?
She doesn't look like this is hurting her, and I'd like to ask her why.
Well, she's concentrated. I know she's been out here the last few days concentrating very hard on her gearing options, heading up and down these hills and just making sure that she gets up and down in the minimal amount of effort, and it certainly seems to be paying off that she's not only one of the strongest athletes but also one of the most dedicated. Henry Schoeman is like that in the men. He spends a lot of time out on course getting every corner right, getting all his gearings correct, and those little 1%ers, if you like, go a long way over the course of a season of such tough racing over multiple days.
Well, without question, I saw her out here 4 days ago with Tommy Zafiris, her husband, and she was one of the only women that constantly rode this course. It was a lot wetter than what it was. She had a lot of input on how she wanted the corners to be put for us to setting up the course, and I think she just lavishes in this front racing, and she's yet to show any sign of fatigue in any of the races we've done. She's just been so dominant and strong, and I think the multi-day racing suits her strength as an athlete.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you see in Super League. The athletes who are really strong and really conditioned do well over the 2-3 day formats, whatever it is that we have on whatever weekend we're in at Super League. But yeah, the ability to back up, the ability to come back the next day and to not show fatigue from the get-go, that's really, really important. There's no point in being good on one day and not being able to show up on the second, and Katie's been brilliant at that.
All right, Katie gets off the bike first, which means she'll just pick up a short chute to add to her happy spot at the front of this race and put a little bit more time into Spivey. Behind them, though, Joanna Brown has recovered somewhat from busting herself a little bit on the second stage, and she's joined a group of now 4 in Casper, Klammer and Takahashi as well. And there is Taylor Spivey, who's really seen no one else except for the back of Katie Zafiris during this stage, but she'll head now into the water looking to make up a little bit of time. She's wearing the blue jersey, in case you didn't pick that up earlier on, because she had the fastest swim split. So she's the back in Malta, so she's the fastest swimmer out there, and she'll need to employ all of that with the short chute for Zafiris, seeing her into the water for the last time today. The water quite warm out there. It's just the wind when they get out of the water, which is really chilling the athletes to the bone. But as you can see, they've had 8 different disciplines, the swim being the 8th. And there's one more to go after this. Spivey out onto the sand, has a look out, sees Zafiris out there, picks a spot and dives in. Yeah, she'll need the swim of her life at this point if she's going to get anywhere near Zafiris, who is already closing in on the first left-hand turn, and Jodie Stimpson has been eliminated by virtue of the 90-second rule.
I don't think Taylor will be able to catch up to Katie in this, but I think she's done a really good job, actually. I think she held the gap quite well on that final lap on the bike. It didn't seem like it went out anymore. I think she sort of has conserved her energy pretty well there. She's still got a really decent buffer ahead of these girls that we're seeing going in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th place, and that's going to be the real battle here. The battle's going to be for the 3rd place on the podium overall today.
If you're Summer Cook right now, you're very, very focused on what's happening in this 3rd group. That's going to play a lot of impact on her weekend's racing and a lot of impact on the overall for her.
A huge amount when you consider that Kirsten Casper is just ahead of her in the standings. She was, 10 points ahead. So where Casper finishes, whether it be 3rd or 6th, is going to make a big difference. And Klammer is 2 points behind Cook as well. So where she finishes in that group of 4 is going to make a big difference too. Jodie Stimpson will have to settle for 7th place overall. She's on 18 points, so she's behind Klammer. And Joanna Brown is another one of those who is up there in 7th spot in the championship standings, and where she finishes in that group of 4. And all of them will know exactly that. A big, big difference in terms of points when it comes to 3rd versus 6th overall in the triple mix. But at the moment, with a hand on maximum points, one hand and probably 3 fingers of the other hand, is Katie Zafiris, who has just done this day in, day out, week in, week out. Every time she dons the black and yellow of Super League, she seems to take it to a new level.
The most impressive thing for me, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but the most impressive thing she's done today was recover from that bad start that she had. She would not have wanted that start at the beginning of the first stage of the triple mix on the swim. She wouldn't have wanted to find herself in that position at the beginning of the bike, to have 2 laps really where she seemed to be dangling. She was yo-yoing off the back. She wasn't comfortable in the group. She wasn't anywhere near the front of the group. What she's done since then is really control the race. So she's not only managed to get herself back to where she wanted to go, she's done it calmly, she's done it in control, and now we're seeing her lead out by some distance.
You know what? I think it's mostly your fault that Katie Zafiris is so dominant in Super League racing. Do you know?
Oh, well, I'll take a cut of her prize money then, yeah?
If we think back to the Gold Coast and you coming back on that run to steal the World Championship
Steal's
from
a really
her
nasty word.
6
I think,
weeks ago.
She says robbed.
Yeah, robbed. Gosh, harsh.
Oh, she doesn't. Katie says
Katie forced me to be really good that day, and I feel like that was probably my best performance in years, and I really had to pull that out because Katie was so good. She put in a really strong tactical performance. She tried something a bit different that she'd not done in other races, and I didn't really have any choice but to absolutely give my best performance. And I really like Katie. I think we alluded to it earlier. She's such a meticulous athlete. She's someone who's so dedicated. She takes so much attention to all, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. She's out on the course days in advance. She's really a consummate professional, and it almost felt a bit wrong to sort of take it from her at the end there. But
you didn't look
but not
too
so
sad about it, though, did
not
you?
so wrong that I was not going to do it.
All right, Takahashi, the first of that group of 4 out of the water ahead of Casper. There is Rachel Klammer as well.
And Summer Cook would be happy with this racing right now. If she can put Takahashi there in 3rd position, that would save the points lost to the big points that go to the 3rd position. So
yeah, but I think she'll know that going out onto the run, Kirsten is only just behind Yuko Takahashi there, and it's all to play for on that final run. It's so hard to know who's going to pull up well out of this. They're on the 8th of 9 stages of the day now. They've done a lot of racing, but on paper, I think you'd probably have to say that Kirsten is a better runner, and she is in the red jersey, which shows that she's done it before.
All right, a couple of run laps to go between Katie Zafiris and a triple mix win. We kept saying it, but she didn't manage to win the triple mix in Jersey, and that's the last time she has been beaten in Super League. We had another day in Jersey and then a whole round in Malta, and no one could do the job on Katie Zafiris, and she is about to get that one that got away and pick up a triple mix win, barring some kind of mishap or an absolute jet run from Taylor Spivey, as again out of the water comes Katie Zafiris, your championship leader. That's why she's wearing the pink swimmers at the moment.
She'll also take a short shoot as well.
Yeah, just to
add insult to injury to everyone else.
We should make it that everyone gets the short shoot except for the leader.
Yeah.
At this point,
if you're too far in front, you can't have the short shoot, I'm afraid, because it gets boring.
or we get to nominate whether she can take it or not. Would be better.
Yeah. We'll just get a direct line down to the race director and say,
no,
give it to Spivey or hold Zafiris for 10 seconds. But because the dominance of Katie Zafiris is making the racing a little bit of a procession. But the battles are certainly going on back in the field as Taylor Spivey comes up the steps for the last time and onto the run.
The factor we haven't talked about, and it's only in this final leg that it comes into play, is that they're going to have really sandy feet right now. Normally, you come off...
That's an athlete's response to this.
I'd be worried about getting blisters and sore feet, and more so just because they've got to race again tomorrow.
Yes.
Admittedly, it's only a short run, but it is uphill and downhill. Normally, when you come off a beach run in from the swim, you then get on the bike, so you lose some of that sand, it brushes off, and then you come onto the bike half an hour or an hour later, depending on whether it's a sprint or Olympic distance event. In this event, you come straight off the beach, you put your shoes on, and then you go out on the run, so I can't imagine it's that comfortable.
Well, that's what Super League provides. 3 foot scrubs as well, get rid of the dead skin.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have Brad Beer up there with physio, foot scrubs,
everything,
a bunch of everything.
It's
all-inclusive package here.
Pop your shoes off after this. Brand new feet underneath, all the skin gone. But it's all part of being a triathlete. It's all part of Super League Triathlon as Katie Zafiris powers up Church Hill for the second last time.
We're seeing
you can see in the background there Kirsten Casper pushing along, knowing how important that one is for her amongst that group of 4, which is starting to spread out as well. But Taylor Spivey, through that transition, was 28 seconds back, which just shows you that even though Katie Zafiris is measuring her effort, she's continually putting time into Taylor Spivey as this one plays out, which just shows you with her frame, her endurance and her age, she can just keep on going.
Yeah, if I was Katie right now, though, I'd be very, very much measuring my effort.
Yeah, agreed.
She's got a whole day to come tomorrow. It's so hard to see her being beaten again, but I just think that she should now just control that, measure that effort. She's got the short shoot as well, 28 seconds plus a short shoot. Just relax. Relax your way, get through as easy as possible, save yourself for tomorrow.
I honestly can't tell whether she's relaxing or not because she looks exactly the same. Like, if we put her through 26 legs at the end of it, she would be running with exactly the same thing. Well, we will.
Yeah.
We will next year.
How many legs to get Zafiras to fatigue?
I don't know. I would say that centipedes have less legs than what we would have to do to get her through that and to make a break because she just seems to keep on going.
But I think
it's her running style from the very first stage.
I think it's a valid point because if we have seen any kinks in Katie's armour, it's been her day 2 racing. It wasn't so much the case in Jersey, but I think last week in Malta she was so dominant in the opening race of the round, and she nearly got beaten in the second race on the second day when the other women who were well put out of the race in day 1 really came back into play. So
she's in a really good position here to as we said, just relax.
Yeah.
Don't do more than she has to do at this point. There's no extra glory for being further seconds in front. She just needs to get to the finish line first and be as relaxed as possible because it was a really tight race in Malta. It was a thrilling race, actually, that sprint finish up the hill. It showed what it meant at the end as well. She had that real grimace on her face that you don't often see with Katie, but she really put everything into that. So for this one, conserve your energy. She doesn't have to be in that battle, which is a massive advantage going into the final day.
And full credit to Taylor Spivey. She came in at Malta. She missed us in Jersey. She wasn't able to race and came into the Malta event. She won that opening TT. She really played a part in the racing. And here's the important race for the podium for today's racing.
Yeah, Kirsten looks comfortable in third now. She's put up quite a nice gap between herself and the chasers. So that does look like it's going to be the finishing order of the day. And Kirsten's had a real yo-yo of a day, really, hasn't she? That first leg, she was right up there. Then the break happened and she didn't quite make it. Lost 35 seconds. Put herself back in the mix with a great run at the start of the second stage. Then got dropped on the bike again. Brought back into it. Yeah, real yo-yo of a day.
Speaking of a yo-yo of the day, Joanna Brown, who can count herself incredibly, she should be happy for finishing in 6th position, the 2018 Commonwealth Games bronze medalist. The pace is very, very hot, and we have 5 women left in this race. Katie Zafiras will cross the line very soon. She'll have one more time up the hill, and that will be it. And very importantly, Kirsten Casper sits in 3rd, and Rachel Klammer needs to take Yuko Takahashi and move herself into 4th position in terms of round points and subsequently championship points because she wants to find a way. And there you can see her working behind Takahashi as they go up Church Hill for the last time. She needs to take Takahashi and move herself into at least 4th position if she can't get Casper.
Yeah, Takahashi, the only non-coloured suit, if you like, that we've got left in the day. And I think she's actually been really impressive, especially in leg 1. I think she looked after herself very well. We saw her at the front of the bike or near the front of the bike the whole time, tucked herself well into the group on the run. She kept herself as much in the game as she could do on the second leg. And to be able to complete this, given that we're only going to have 5 finishers amongst the other 4 who are all wearing coloured jerseys, I think she's done a really, really good job today. Now battling it out with Rachel Klammer to hopefully for her finish in 4th place.
If you're wondering why Takahashi doesn't figure in our talks about championship standing, she wasn't in Jersey, so that hurts her in terms of overall, but she can certainly take a lot out of the others. But it doesn't matter for Katie Zafiras, who high-fives away to a win in the triple mix. Katie Zafiras, what an effort from her, a measured performance, and she just did not slow down. A hug there from Claire Michel, the Belgian Olympian, who unfortunately was injured for this race, but Katie Zafiras was just too strong and she'll end up winning by a clear 45 seconds or more from Taylor Spivey, and she has stamped her authority on this weekend as she has done every time in the past, and she's still got enough oxygen left in the lungs to have a discussion about it. But Taylor Spivey, who arrived with us in Malta, made a big, big splash there. She's had a great, great season, the American, and she knows that she's done incredibly well here as well to pick up 2nd behind Zafiras. So an American 1-2 here in Mallorca in the women's triple mix. Kirsten Casper, I think, will be in third position overall. And there she is, Kirsten Casper, who found enough to kick away from her competitors. And I think in the background, Rachel Klammer has indeed taken Yuko Takahashi. So Casper, you're second in your championship standings, will take third today. Fourth today with a little stumble over the line. She's given it absolutely everything. Rachel Klammer ahead of Yuko Takahashi, but that look on Rachel Klammer's face, she knew she had to give 110%, and it looks like she's done exactly that.
What a course, aren't they? You can see it. I was just watching them. They're stumbling over the finish line.
They haven't got even the legs to get across the line anymore. It's taken so much out of them.
It has, and we do it all again tomorrow as well. So for the women, it's about trying to back up, trying to recover, and at the Rafa Nadal Academy, there's every single thing that can help them to recover, and they'll need all of that. And for the men, it's about looking at this race and trying to decide how they're going to take it on, because it's only about 40 minutes or so until the men's race, and we can't wait to bring you that. But we're all in awe here in the commentary box of Katie Zafiris, who just cannot find a way to be beaten. She always, as you say, we always say she measures her effort. She doesn't look like she's blowing at any point, and she got around stage 3 in 21 minutes and 5 seconds. And I can tell you that is a superhuman feat. 42 seconds back to Taylor Spivey. Kirsten Casper came back in the end in third. Rachel Klammer, who gave everything, a minute 12 back in fourth. And Yuko Takahashi, 1:15 back in fifth. A great effort from Yuko Takahashi. We'll head down now to Annie,